He's the man. And, of course, they need people like that to misdirect this gathering awareness. And the awareness is not only coming from shows like you and people like me, it's coming from daily experience, of course, now. And they need to find a way of directing it away from seeing the real massive connections that show this is a global, not a national issue.
So
That's why I'm standing to get this information across. By the way, Alex, he stood and said, I want a debate on Big Brother. That's why I'm doing it. He has absolutely point-blank refused to debate with me, a fellow candidate in this election.
Amazing. So bottom line, he is a change agent masquerading as the alternative. He is controlled opposition.
There's a very good chance that that is what this game is about.
Well, there's no doubt. If you've got every top neocon, the inner circle of global neocon power coming to his district to campaign for him because he's fighting the New World Order, I mean, this is incredibly obvious. We're going to do a behind-the-scenes discussion for PrisonPlanet.tv and Internet listeners right now. We'll be back for everybody else in just a few minutes. Stay with us. David Icke. All right. David?
Yes, mate.
What I'm doing now is, with a really big guest, is I just skip the breaks for the Internet audience so we don't waste any time, and we'll come back and get into other issues in just a few minutes. But we will take the bottom of the hour break in about 10 minutes, so you'll have a break then. Why don't you, right now, we'll do this before you leave on the full show, tell us about some of the websites, some of the things you're working on right now, some of the new books and videos.
Okay.
Go ahead and tell us about that now, David.
Okay, what's happened since 9/11 particularly, but certainly in the last couple of years, there's been an explosion of interest in this whole information that I'm putting out. And when I've finished with this election, I'm going to speak in Croatia, in Romania, in Italy. Then I'm coming to America to speak in Santa Clara the last weekend in September. I've got a DVD coming out, 7 hours of what I did to 2,500 people in London at the Brixton Academy a few weeks ago. There's another interesting video coming out, 2 hours for people who are new to this, which is a presentation I did to the Oxford Union about 6 weeks ago at Oxford University. And it's interesting when you're talking to closed minds as opposed to open minds, how people have supposedly top intellect at one of the leading universities in the world. Honestly, they're babes in arms. They're babes in arms when it comes to the world as it really is.
Well, I totally agree with you. What was the difference? I mean, a few palpable examples of talking to the educated idiots who are in this small, sequestered world looking at the universe through a straw versus talking to open-minded people.
Well, you know, it's interesting. The more that I've traveled this journey, of course, the more subjects I've realized you've got to get some kind of understanding of to appreciate how all the pieces fit. And one area is the way the brain works. You know, there are two sides to the brain, two hemispheres of the brain. The right brain is the creative. It's the out there. It can see connections. It can think in a different way, in a maverick way, in an off-the-cuff way, with imagination. And then you've got the left brain, which we need, which is about language, it's about seeing everything as a part, it's about seeing structure and all the rest of it. And of course, when you analyze the system of what we bravely call education, it creates left brain prisoners. To progress within the system, you have to go to school. You have to take information into the left brain overwhelmingly because it's all about mathematics and language.
That's the German-Prussian model of 200 years ago. The modern education model based on that was about keeping you only in the left brain, where it's basically regurgitation.
Yes, exactly. And so if you analyze the system, you go through school, and if you're very good at taking in left brain information, holding it, and then regurgitating it out on an exam paper, then you progress into university and what have you, and you do the same again at a higher level. You then choose your specialization, medicine, science, whatever, and you do the same again at a higher level in your specialization.
And you're like specialized insects who are sequestered, perfect to be inserted into the Illuminati compartmentalized pyramid, whereas you have the artist, free-thinking, truly creative mind, which has always been the enemy of the New World Order.
Right, and if you look at, therefore, that the system and the way it brings its people to the top of its various pyramids to run its institutions, they are people who have been very, very good at taking in left brain information and regurgitating it out on an exam paper.
Boy, folks listening on Infowars.com and watching on PrisonPlanet.tv just heard David totally switch into left-right brain science. Restate that without me interrupting, David. Break down the left-right, and I've read the research. You're absolutely accurate in what you're saying for people, and how this Illuminati pyramid goes after certain compartmentalized, shuttered individuals. Like, you'll talk to globalists, and you'll find out they're compartmentalized and have been selected because, like a specialized insect in an anthill, they carry out a specific function, which is totally left brain.
Yeah, once I began to understand how the brain worked, society started to make real sense to me. Because we have two hemispheres of the brain. There's the right brain, which is the creative, it's the out there, it's the maverick, it's the free thinking. It's that which will not be imprisoned. It's that which can see connections between things and not just see everything as divided and apart. Now, the left brain really helps us function in this world because it's about language, it's about structure, and it's about the world of the five senses, if you like. And it's important. You know, we need whole brain people, because if you're only right-brained, we all know people like that, they're very creative, but they can't function in this world. But there's another extreme, which is becoming a left-brain prisoner, which I have to say is where most people are, particularly those that run the system. And if you're in the left brain, you're just dealing with five-sense reality, which is a fraction of what there is to understand, and certainly a fraction of what there is to express yourself. And the system is designed to lock people in that tiny left brain reality, and they do it not least through the bravely entitled education system, because as you go through school, what are you doing? You're taking in left brain information, hold it, and now give it me back on an exam paper. Tell the system what it's told you, and then you progress because you're very successful at school.
That's basic programming.
Programming, yes, it is. I mean, it's interesting, you know, Alex, that when you go through a secret society, you go up through degrees, and then when you go to university, you get a degree. Well, it's a degree of programming to a very large extent. So you go to university from school, you go through the same process of taking in left brain information and putting it out on an exam paper. You then choose your specialization of medicine, of whatever it is, science, law, all of these things. And then you go through your specialization, and to pass those exams, you do the same again. So what you've been doing all your formative life is working with left brain reality and building up the left brain to dominate your sense of reality. And it's these people who end up in the positions of power at the top of all the institutions of science and law and politics and even business. And so the system is run by left brain prisoners who are operating with a fraction of their potential of understanding reality and creativity. And therefore, we live in a left-brain society. And it's interesting. Again, you know, when you understand these things, you start to see the significance of apparently things that are not connected. The British government, a few months ago, announced that it was going to introduce 500 tests, intellectual-type tests, for preschool children. And the teachers were saying, hold on a minute, when are the kids going to have time to play? They don't want them to play, because play is ad-lib, imaginative right-brain thing.
Here in the U.S., I don't know about England, they have banned dodgeball, then it was play, then it was tag. Now they're just getting rid of recess, and again, they want to keep you in that left brain, as the Prussians discovered over 100 years ago. Their own documents, as you know, David, I'm sure you've seen them, say that they don't ever want you to relax or have time to think or daydream or have a philosophic. It's all just machines compartmentalizing the mind with the 7 periods.
That's absolutely right. Daydreaming is a very, very important point. Daydreaming is a right brain kind of activity.
Well, it's also a communion between the cerebral cortex of the left and right and the subconscious, which is the larger, more powerful system.
Yeah, so what they want to do is lock people into left brain reality, because it's basically putting them into a reality bubble, what I call the eggshell. And when I went to Oxford University, of course, if you're very, very good at this left brain, give it me and I'll give it you back on an exam paper, you are considered in this left brain bewildered world to be a kind of intellectual genius. These are the people who are professors at universities who are teaching the next generation. And when I went to talk at Oxford University, it was extraordinary, the concrete minds that you see who are perceived by society to be...
David Icke, we got a break. Stay there. Stay there. 3-minute break. We'll be right back. Get into this. Then get into the big picture, the end game with David Icke. I'm Alex Jones, prisonplanet.com. Stay with us.